Thanks so much for joining us here at MeWe Fairs for Cosmic Conversations. There are four of us that are helping run the event today to have conversations about all kinds of things, really about anything cosmic. We'll let everybody that's helping run the event today introduce themselves, and then if people in the audience are interested in sharing a bit about who they are and where they are in the world, like why they're interested in having these kinds of conversations, we can do that too. I'm going to get the team of us that are running the event today spotlighted. And we're going to have more people joining us throughout. You can find out about more of our online events at joinmeweonline.com. And yeah, who wants to share kind of about themselves and why we do these events first? Or
Oh,
I can go
sure.
too,
Why
yeah.
not?
Mm.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Crystal Novak. I'm a psychic, conscious channel, and I also do energy work. My website is iknowstuff.me because basically I work from a place of knowingness and I just know stuff. Ask a question, stuff drops into my head. Yeah. So I'm here to participate in Cosmic Conversation because this was a spin-off from conversations at MeWe fairs between myself and other practitioners, and most in particular Kai, who's also here, where if things were kind of slow, we would start talking about stuff and realize that each one of us had different things that the other person didn't know about. So it was really fascinating to share information back and forth. And then Lorelei would come by and like want to stay and sit down, but she couldn't because there was too much going on for her. And so here we are. It spun into this chat thing that we do once a month, where you are hopefully going to ask us questions or share information or experience that you've had or anything like that, because we want to have this be open and available for everybody that's here. Um, so that's what we're doing, and we'll get started here real quick. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Crystal. Yeah, who else wants to share?
I'll go. Hi, everybody. I'm Kai. I'm a Hawaiian Kahuna. I am an author, mentor, speaker. I've been doing this, well, officially doing this for probably about 20 years or so, but I have been born with the ability to see things. So I was doing that according to my mom since I was an infant. So I've been involved with the woo-woo for a very long time. Um, I wanted to do the Cosmic Conversations because I feel like I learned so much by talking to other people. And what's interesting is like it's not necessarily just learning more information just in general. Like I learn more about other people, I learn more about myself, and I learn more about what works for me and what doesn't work for me. So having conversations of any kind are invaluable because then you can just, there's always a takeaway that you can have from having a conversation, especially in metaphysical circles, because you can like talk about like the most bizarre topics and just pick up a lot of things like I had no idea about that. And I love that stuff because that's what makes my world just a little bit bigger. And I love that. And in doing this in this format allows other people to have that or experience that as well. We wanted to have other people come in and join us whenever they wanted so that they could contribute to the conversation as well, because it's like sometimes you don't want just to hear the sound of your own voice, right? You want to hear other people express how they feel and what they think and all that kind of thing, and we don't always have to agree, but just the fact that we're willing to have a conversation on something, it just makes everything much better, I think. So that's why I wanted to do it. And I always look forward to these. It's gonna be fun. It's never gonna be dull, honestly. It never is. So um so for everybody who's arrived, thank you for coming. Yeah, we don't know what we're gonna talk about yet, but it'll come up. So we'll see.
And Alina, you want to share?
Sure. Well, I already said that once before. I come here to listen to smart people. So for me, it's more of I nip the tip of the iceberg. I don't have nearly as much experience as Kai or Crystal do. But I disperse myself throughout different modalities, and for me, cosmic conversations is always just to come and literally listen and learn. If I can contribute to the conversation, great, awesome. Finally, I have something to say. If I don't, I will just sit there and quietly listen and absorb. And sometimes this is all you do. I started coming here just because I wanted to hear. Um, and that's kind of what brought me to this point today. Starting out as a crystal healer and proceeding into all kinds of different other things. I only started out 10 years ago. Uh, uh, I did not collect rocks as a child. I did not. I read playing cards when I was a teenager, and that was a huge divination form for me to see whose boyfriend is where. But you know, that did not end into anything serious or a business for that matter. But I only started my business 4 years ago. So I mean, I just want to bless you, Lorelai.
Yeah, bless you.
I just wanted to hear and to absorb from someone who has so much more knowledge and experience than I do. And that's kind of that's what I'm here for the ride. There we go.
Mute.
Unmute yourself.
You're muted.
Thanks so much. I'm Lorelai Shamayo. You probably know me from running all the Maybe Fairs events, blush, blush, blush. And then, I'm also an intuitive eye reader, body psychology coach, and matchmaker. And really, the way that I got started in this field is I went to an event someone else prompted me to go to, and I got introduced to the O cards, so some oracle cards. And I love them. I'm looking for them. I finally found them, and then I used to bring them to parties. And whoever would sit with me, we would all take turns doing readings with each other. And so that's really the way I got started in all this. And then it was a few years later that I started learning the modality that became the intuitive eye readings and just other teachers that I studied with. And so all this that I blend together in my work. Oh goodness. I kind of came into this the back door, had no idea I was doing anything intuitive or psychic or anything like that. Was much more of a coach and approached everything like a scientist, still do in some ways. And I have like this, to me, like this narrow experience of how I practice. And I get exposed to so much more by being in these community events with all the other practitioners. And so, particularly, Kai and Crystal, you're two people that I really enjoy very much and respect. And so, yeah, when I would be walking around and you're all talking, I always want to, like, I want to be part of this too. So, I'm so glad that we decided to have these kinds of conversations all together. It is public. We are recording it, so anyone can listen to us afterwards. And we wanted to make it a collaborative conversation. So we're continuing to explore and experiment. We've been running this all year. And so Alina is the first time we have someone else up here on the kind of in the front with us. And uh, we're looking at maybe having other people, as each of the different events include different people with us. And then for all of you that are attending, thank you so much for attending. And when you have something you want to share about, it might be a question or an experience you've had, or just something that seems current, in the world around you or with your clients or anything like that. And you want to chat about that, we could bring you up here too. You could share from your chair. It's totally up to you what you want to do. And yeah, we're here to have conversation together and grow together and learn together. Where many of us are practitioners, not everyone is, and there's just all different stages of our work, and we practice different things and experience things in different ways. And yeah, so it's a chance to learn and grow doing this together. Oh, yeah. All right. So this is who we are. Let me put information in the chat about all of us. So if you want to connect with any of us afterwards, that's easy to do. And then we are just here all together. And so if any of you see anything that you want me to change in any of your write-up or anything, let me know. Yeah, there's our info.
Nope.
Yeah, great. Great. Well, we started talking about something right before we all started, but I guess, well, let's see. So anyone in the audience, do any of you want to introduce yourselves and say who you are and what had you choose to come? And is there anything in particular that you want to talk about? Not to talk about it right now, but just kind of helping introduce that into the space. And then, yeah,
And if you don't want to, you don't have to.
You
It's
totally don't have
okay.
to. Yeah,
What?
it's
If
up
you
to
want to
you.
plug it into the chat instead, that's okay too. You don't have to,
You
don't
don't have
feel
to be in
like
the
you have to
recording,
do that.
but
Yeah.
if you want to, feel free to unmute and share. I see one person. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Melody Rosecrans, and I learned about this event through the great almighty Facebook and Lorelei. And I thought it would be a great group to listen and have conversations with. And so here I am. Here I be. So
You
Thank
want
you
to
thanks.
give any
joining.
Thanks.
context of your interest in this field and how you happen to be wandering around that stuff on Facebook? It's up to you.
Yes, I'm a medium and Akashic Records reader and healer. Um, so that's my fun thing I do. I just talk to friends. That's what I call them. Yeah.
And I'm going to prompt just one more thing if you want to share. I understand that there was something prompting the travels that you're in the middle of right now. Do you want to say anything a part of what prompted that?
Yes, I've recently released a book called Invoke Me, and it's a journaling guidebook, a how-to book to help anybody awaken. It's a practical guide to, I call it a practical guide to invoke your infinite self, and it's all about going within and teaching others through self-love and how to connect themselves with the Akashic records or their past ancestors, through mediumship, through Akashic records, through just connecting and having that power at your fingertips. Because everybody can.
Great, great. And congratulations on having your book out.
Mhm.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm traveling all over the US right now doing a book tour, and I'm currently in Orlando. But I'll be back in Seattle soon.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Great. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Anyone else want to introduce themselves? How did you happen to find your way here? What is your context in the field and anything you want to talk about today? Hi, Anne. I
Well,
see you.
I could introduce myself. I was so glad to meet everybody at the MeWe fairs through Lorelei, who started this whole group, and went to the metaphysical fairs as a cranial sacral practitioner. So body work is what I did, starting with massage, and then like my gifts started opening up, like during around COVID time. Other gifts like animals started coming in talking to me. I got these symbols that were coming in, and I worked with some other practitioners that helped me like figure out what was next, and like how to continue to open and ask questions. And I just found it really amazing because I had no expectations. And then dead people started talking to me, including my dad. And then I moved to Panama and I met all these insects out here. So I just yeah, when I open up more stuff comes in, and it's wild. It's a wild ride. So I love these cosmic conversations because you never know what's going to happen, right? Like, what are we going to talk about? You know, I I I really value everybody's background, and the fact that they've connected to their gifts and they're also unique. And I yeah, it's really amazing. And then I moved to Panama a few years ago, and I realized that the animals really need me over here too. So I'm helping people connect to their animals, and whatever comes up, I just volunteered a couple animal groups. And you know some people understand, some people don't. And actually I just do work remotely. I realized, oh well, it's the quantum field that we're all working in, so anything can be done without actually being in person. I struggled a lot in the 3D, like watching animals struggle in the spay neuter clinics and veterinary clinics, animals that were hurt physically. And like I realized I can connect in another vibrational field and lay down a higher frequency and another way to connect with them, and that there's so many different avenues that like every day is something different. So a gal who came to me through a friend, and she had a problem with her cat. She didn't know what was going on. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm an animal communicator, I told her. And she goes, oh, you are? I didn't know that. I'm like, well, yeah, well, I don't always share it, but do you want me to tell you? She said, yeah, sure. So I will just volunteer my time. If you want to make a donation, a lot of times I'll donate it to the local animal group. But It's just like I love to just continue to open up my gifts, and the animal world seems to be always my biggest connection. And lately, my dead animals have been coming in through amazing ways that I would have never expected, and their personalities shine through. So it's undeniable that it's really them, because at first I would just question it, but I like to be here with you guys. I want to learn more. I want to just listen and observe. And if I have something to add, I will. Otherwise, I'm just grateful to have all these magical gifts just kind of coming online. And now is the time. It feels like the veil is really thin for all of us, right? So we're even getting more information and more gifts that we didn't realize that we've already had all this time. So it's just these codes are now aligning and awakening ourselves to who we really are, and that's just an amazing gift. So every day miracles are happening, and it blows my mind. So anyway, thank you for letting me share, and I'm really glad and excited to be here.
Thanks, Anne.
Great, thanks, Anne. I know someone wrote in the chat. Do you want me to read? Should I read that out for you? And did you want to be anonymous, or should I say your name? You let me know in the chat. I'll know what to do. Or I'll just read it, but not say who you are. Oh, I can say your name. Okay, great. So Ellen writes, what has been your most unique experience within your field? I'm a dabbling astrologer, read energy with Oracle tarot cards. I've had a lot of psychic moments. I actually predicted an accident before it happened. I could physically feel the pain of the accident before it happened. I prevented my family from going to a fair. Later on in the news, we heard there was a head-on collision, no survivors. Yeah. Yeah, it's great to talk about these kinds of things and what we experience. And yeah, the feedback from the universe is letting us know we're tuned in. And we've got a couple other people here. Your names start with C. Do either of you want to introduce yourselves? You don't have to. Just giving you an opportunity. All right. Just check in. Oh, wait. I like touching my fingertips like that. I don't do it any other time. This is like the only time I do that. I kind of like that feeling. I should just do it more. All right.
Okay, so let's answer that
All right.
question. What
On
has
to the
been your
conversation. Yeah.
what is your most unique experience within your field? Well, for me, it is that from the time I was a kid, I could actually, like I said, I mentioned that I could see things. And what I mean by that is I can see angels, I can see demons, I can see things that I don't even have names for. Um, and so for me, the unique experience, even now, is continuing to see things that I'm like, oh, well, that's new. In terms of like, that's a new thing I've not seen before. That is a new entity that I've not experienced before, like, or I've not felt that level of energy before.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, could you describe more in like a sensual kind of way? Is it like the colors or the shape or the movement or the features, or you said the energy, like the intensity or the pattern of it, or yeah.
Yeah, well, what I've been encountering, at least like over the course of time, is that things are getting bigger in terms of like physical size and intensity of energy and strength of energy. Because there's a range, right? There's like little tiny entities like little fairies and things like that. And then it goes up to like big, huge things. And so as time has gone on, especially in the past year, I've been encountering like really big things. And for me, that's different.
Can I jump in? Because you said something recently that's related to that, potentially. You said to someone else recently that the more that we grow, the more conscious we are, the bigger the energy that can um how to say, like it's not that we are no longer, it's like not that we no longer have challenging energy come to us, that actually the more we grow, the bigger the energy that can come play with us now or choose us to, because like we're an interesting competitive for them. So I wonder if part of why you're seeing bigger things is just where you've grown and you're able to be with these bigger things now, and so you experience them now where you didn't, they just weren't around you before.
I'm not sure if I mean, that's entirely possible. I'm not really sure. But for me, it's more like, I don't know if I just didn't notice them, but I mean, like, I think for my abilities, I have definitely grown. And so now I've been doing all these like energy assignments that I never had before. And in doing so, like I've noticed like the things that I've noticed all along, but they're just like huge. Like I'm used to seeing things that are the size of a person, and now I'm like seeing things that are like the size of King Kong, right? They're like huge. So just in terms of mass, I've just seen a lot of different things. So that's been what's unique about my experience for me, but it's an ongoing thing because there's always like, oh, what is that? Oh, okay, that's new. Like I've never seen that before. Which is part of like it's for me it's almost a catch 22 because like it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. At the same time, it's like, oh, that's really scary. So it's a weird dance that I always have with my abilities in that way because I'm just like, what the heck is that now? But at the same time, it's like, oh, that's cool. So yeah. Um, and it's pretty cool that you're saying you're a dabbling astrologer, read energy oracle tarot cards, a lot of psychic moments. It's cool that you predicted something. I have not. I can get a sense of things, but I can't actually predict them. Um, which I'm kind of grateful for, honestly.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is like one of the gifts that I'm like, if I have a choice, I kind of don't want that one, just because um I have a tendency to worry about stuff. So it's better for me like not to know and just have to deal with something when it happens. So that's my unique.
Anyone else want to talk about the most unique
Sure.
experience?
I wouldn't say this is the most unique one, but because I've had lots of odds and end ones, but about 3 years ago, um, I was living in a friend of mine's house and I was remodeling their basement. So I had the whole downstairs to myself and I had a cat. And it's about 11 o'clock at night and Kitty's been outside. I had a pet door for him and I'm in the bathroom and getting ready to be done. And he comes trotting down the hall and I can see him and he goes by and he's carrying a big rat. And the rat is still alive. And I'm like, um, so the hallway was long and it ended, and then on either side, one side was my bedroom and the other side was the laundry room, and the doors were open to both of them. I'm like, fuck, 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 fuck. Okay. And so I get up and I step out into the hall, and he's got the rat trapped in a corner and it's jumping and hissing, and I can see a little bit of blood on the baseboard and stuff. And I'm like, oh, crap. And then he goes, so I run in the kitchen, I get a broom and a big grocery bag, paper bag. And I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking, but that's what I went and got. Um, so he goes, oh, okay, you got this. And he goes back down the hall and he leaves me with the rat. And I'm like, God, ay, ay, ay. So I lean and the rat's looking at me and closes the door to the laundry room. And then he runs into my bedroom. I'm like, oh, happy days. Here we go. Fortunately, he ran behind the door, what was up against the wall. So I had the broom, and so, God. So I'm like trying to, and so I force him back out into the hall, close the door, and now he's in the corner, and I can tell he's tired. He's kind of shaky. And I hear this rat say to me, please don't kill me. And I'm like, okay, I won't kill you if you crawl into the bag, and then I'll take you outside. He crawled into the bag, and so I took him outside. So that was yeah, it was wild. Yeah. Yeah, I've had, especially with my pets, I had two cats before I moved up here, and when I moved up here, I had one cat because one cat decided he didn't want to move. And I said, I told you at least a month ago we were moving back to Seattle. Well, I'm like, okay. So I go to like get him and he runs a little bit away from me. So I run a little faster. He runs faster. I run faster. And now I'm chasing him. And he runs into the sticker bushes, surrounded by poison oak, and he's not going to come out. I'm like, you little expletive deleted. Um, so right then my landlord comes back, and she's like, how come you're still here? Said, well, Blue does not want to go to Seattle. And she loved that cat because he would catch rats and mice. And so I said, hey, do you want a cat? And she looked, and I said, how about you keep him? Because he had some health issues. I said, you keep him, and then you can keep my deposit. I got to get on the road. So she's like, okay. So that is the story of how I came up here with one kitty, and the other kitty decided he wanted to be a California kitty. So those are a couple stories. There's more if I stop and think about it, but I don't want to monopolize our conversation.
I was wondering how the rat was going to turn into a story in their field. So I was like, all right, what is happening with this rat?
Boy, out he went and worked for me. I didn't want to kill him, but at the same time, it's like, you can't be in here. So it worked out. And then Colby and I had a big conversation. I said, you're on
Wow.
house arrest for the rest of the evening because he wanted to go out and find us. I said, oh, I don't think so. No.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Alina, you want to go?
Okay, mine is boring. I'm gonna warn you. Um, I two of the most unique experiences. One is related to crystals, and the other one is related to cards. When I first started working with crystal energy, and that was 10 years ago, the reason I started was a personal tragedy, and that's kind of what brought me to seek help from something that's not necessarily an antidepressant. Um, and I ran into a crystal blog and started kind of just basically madly buying all kinds of stones and rocks and cleansing them and putting them under my pillow and around myself and on myself. And then I started realizing that something was just not going right. Um, and the more I worked with them, I was like, why can't I get off this couch? I really just don't feel like getting off this couch. I just feel like staying here for like a week and just reading my book, and I don't want to do anything. I don't want to commit a heroic act. I want to stay on my couch. And then I turned to the person that I learned it from, and I said, listen, I'm wearing this Amazonite bracelet because, I'm trying to get through some things emotionally, and I'm trying to harmonize myself. But I'm like, I really don't feel like going anywhere. Is that what is it? And she said, oh, right, you're experiencing a side effect. You mean they have side effects? Um, it's just like, yeah, Amazonite makes you lazy, just naturally lazy. So if you're just a naturally lazy person, and I'm a very lazy person, it will glue you to the couch if you wear it all the time. And I did not know that there was the other side to working with crystals. That was a sticker shock. Because here in the US, if you go to any crystal healing school or take any lessons or read any book, they can do no wrong. Well, I mean, everything has a side effect. Why not crystals having side effects? And but that was my first experience, and I was like, okay, I think I need to take it off and put something more energizing on. She's like, you can put carnelian on, but don't sleep with it. Why? Because you won't sleep. Okay, it's like caffeine in stone form. Okay, duly noted. Won't do. But that was the first, like, I didn't think much about it. I was really just madly buying and wearing everything and experimenting with myself. The second one was with my card deck when there was a very, very toxic person at my workplace that my supervisor just basically wanted to know um, what could potentially happen to that person now that they moved places, and would the true colors basically come out. And as I started pulling the cards out, one of the cards, as soon as she asked, what's going to happen? I pulled the card that's called Furries, and that's probably one of the worst cards in the deck. And I said, oh, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Like, please don't wait for it to happen tomorrow, but just watch what happens to that person over time. Over the next 4 to 6 months, that person got disciplined several times. at work because they broke the rules and they insulted the coworker and they insulted a client and have just basically gone off track a lot. And now they're staying under the radar. They did not get fired because it's just really hard to document a person out of the government organization, but they are really staying very quiet right now, like very much under the radar because they really got a lot of consequences for their actions and their words. And when my supervisor called and said, I gotta tell you, I have to tell you, do you remember that reading? Do you remember those fairies? Yeah, this is what they got. And I was like, oh, crap, I forgot about it. I thought I was off. I was wrong. I just, Mercury was retrograde, Moon was void. Who cares? I must have misread it all. And it took several months, but it unraveled in that way. And that's what the first time that I was like that I got it more or less correct. Like, with my simple deck card, a card deck, and it's yeah, that was another one of those wow, I cannot believe that happened, kind of experiences. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna briefly tell three things. And one's got a show and tell. And one I've never told anyone ever. So I'll say it here for the first time. I've been knowing it's going to come out, so just something that happened. So I'm an eye reader, and I've gotten so good at reading eyes. I'm open so much to reading that, and I know other people can do versions of this, and people do this in their own ways. But when I see someone, see photos of them, like it's a combination of knowing the patterns of my work so well and knowing the data connected to it and claircognizance in whatever other way I'm tapping in energetically to the person. I mean, just in seconds, split seconds, I just know so much about them, or that likely is true of them, and then I'm always finding out that so much of it is true. So I never would have guessed that I would have done this, except that the reason why I kind of wandered into biology was back in high school. It just felt like mind and brain, and like I was going down the track to become a biologist. And so the idea that the brain creates all of who we are. So our genetics creates our brain, which creates all of who we are. And it just did not make sense to me at all. And so what is this idea of mind? And to me, mind is like all that magical other stuff that, at that age. So I've been interested in this my whole life, and I feel like now when I look at someone, like I get to see like all this stuff and can talk about it. So I think that's something unusual about me as a practitioner. I'm just amazed at how accurate I am about a bunch of things. It's anyway, just cold photo for me, and then I get to hear from another person, verify all that. All of us as practitioners, I think we get versions of that, but so just the way I see it, and then I see it so fast. So that's in my field. And then the second thing, well, maybe let's do the fun thing first. I can't remember what it's called, but something happens and all of a sudden, like, well, for me, like I saw this thing and I'm going to show you some examples of it. I saw this thing and all of a sudden my whole system just went, ugh, and I just went into this molten, melty, like connected with the whole of everything that exists, awe. Like I had this huge opening just in a moment upon seeing something. And yeah, it totally got me by surprise. And I was not that far along my spiritual growth journey at that point. Just really, really surprised. It was amazing. And I have versions of this imagery that I sometimes have on my screen. So I'm going to share my screen and show you um, some of what it is. They're saltwater clams. So I was, ironically, it's related to the rat story, but I was in a pet store getting something for my cat when I turned around, like on the way out, and all of a sudden I saw this clam. So here are just some different images of saltwater clams, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see what these look like. I just find them to be so, so beautiful. And there was this clam just right there in the tank. Let's get them so they're bigger, just moving around a little bit. And they're just, to me, so amazing.
Wow.
They
They're
can get
just,
to like 3 feet across in size.
oh,
Some of them.
wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so there was just a little one in the tank.
God.
but just amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Just so bright and so intense, and they're all so different. Yeah, so that was the first really, really big opening that I had, was seeing one of these. And I just sat there melted in in the dark back corner of the store with all the tanks.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, all right. I'll stop. I'll stop. I'm like, more, more. I want to see more. So yeah, you get the idea. Um, so that's just my personal experience. I haven't had an experience ever quite like that. That's that intense. And then yeah, I still got them all up on the screen. And then the thing that happened on one of our calls a few weeks ago, I don't remember which event it was. Someone asked about people having a guardian angel, like, and they asked, "Does everyone have a guardian angel?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I bet we all do." And then everyone answers that knows more than I do. But the reason why I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure," I just had an experience with the guardian angel. Like that's one way of describing it. Just probably a week or week and a half before then. I was, for the first time, had really bad allergies this year, so I ended up on a bunch of allergy meds, which was making me super sleepy. And I already have trouble where I fall asleep in seconds often. And then I had all this stuff on top of it too. So I was actually, I can figure out which day it was. I was driving out to Ocean Shores to rent a fair in May. And I all of a sudden opened my eyes and the divider of there was this, section where there was no divider and then the divider started again in the middle of like the little freeway, the two-lane thing. And I'm like right there, heading right for the divider, right there. And I don't know if I moved, if something moved me, if something moved my car, but all of a sudden I was just chunk and I'm over in the lane.
Wow.
So I just had that. And yeah. So I've been like a scientist and a little bit like hard-headed too. Yeah, it sounds scary. Um, little like hard-headed, stubborn, closed, like not all that open. Like it's great the way that I've opened to let all my gifts in. At the same time, there's a lot I've not opened to. And so I have like times when I'm like, oh, guess I'm open, ready for that. That's happening. And so that was one of those moments. And yeah, it wasn't time for me to leave. And I think it really did happen. I don't think I imagined it.
Oh no, you didn't imagine it.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, it
and it
happened.
was
That
it was
happened.
just so amazing. I can't I don't know exactly how close I was to it, but it was just right there, like the front of it where there wasn't a divider and there was a divider and I just moved right over. And then to be aware of it and to realize what happened and to presence myself, so I'm driving carefully right after that. And I was really watchful ever since then to make sure I was really awake while I was on those meds. So yeah, scary,
Wow.
totally. Yeah, I was protected.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
yeah, the comments in the chat. Yeah. So that was another, uh, like I sometimes end up choosing a more abrupt experience to open up and to let myself be more accepting and more open to all of spirituality. So that was one of those moments. And yeah, I haven't told my partner because I know my partner worries about me and driving, so I have not told her. So you all know, no, no. Yeah,
We don't know nothing.
it's okay. Yeah, this is going up on
What
YouTube. She
happens
probably
at
will never look,
Cosmic
but
Conversation stays at Cosmic
so now the
Conversation.
question is, do I go tell her after this, or do I just let her eventually hear about it
Yeah.
somewhere or see?
And then you're like, oh, I never told you about that.
Maybe she's hearing it through the wall right now and I can pounding on the door like,
And if we get caught, you're deaf and I don't speak English. Okay?
oh, goodness. All right. Well, yeah. So, does anyone in the audience want to share what's the most unique
Can I share
experience in your
something?
field?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and say mine
Okay.
wasn't
I
unique,
didn't
but
know.
mine was my experience. Yeah. Go ahead, Anne.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I have a few, and I'll try to make them really brief, and I'll do them in the order that they happen. But this happened at another metaphysical fair. Actually, I got a reading from a gal, and it was before I was a practitioner. Really, I did cranial, but I just used to like to go to psychics and just get readings. And so I went with a friend, and so she did my reading, and she kind of came up with what actually was true. All of it was, of course, but it was, working at my home office, some other things in my life and social network and whatnot. And then at the end of it, she's like, okay, there's a baby. And I'm like I had no idea what she was talking about. I'm like, no, there's no baby. And then I went to my daughter, like, oh, maybe she had a pregnancy that, wasn't, that was terminated, or, she didn't talk to me about. So I just forgot about it, right? I'm like, okay, maybe that doesn't mean anything. And time went by. And then I was doing a meditation. I started meditating twice a day and really getting into that. And this baby pops up. And I'm like, who are you? I'm a baby. I'm like, you're a baby. Who are you? Whose baby are you? He goes, you're baby. I'm like, what? Yeah, my name is Jude. And I thought to myself, oh my God, like, when we have traumas and it gets locked in our body and we forget about it, we don't process it. So we just forget and cover it up and hold it in. So I had a miscarriage. And at the time when I was married, my husband was just like, he was so checked out. Like, I had to do this myself. No one was there to support me. And it was really traumatizing. And I remember the doctor telling me it was a boy, but then I forgot. Like, I locked it in my body just so I could continue on with my life. So that trauma was there. And I'd forgotten about it. Like, I just never went and revisited it. So she showed me, like, this was real. And this baby told me, I've been with you all these years. And I counted back. I'm like, wow, that's been a long time. So yeah, you have guardian angels, but you also have me, and I'm always here. And I named him Jude. And my husband said, no, you're not going to name him Jude. They're going to call him Hey Jude. I'm like, no, that's what, if it's a boy, that's what it's going to be. And not really, that was my son. And he's always been with me. So that was really interesting. And then fast forward, I see the same practitioner at the fair, because she never returned any of my emails. I wanted to send her emails and I never got a response. And then I saw her at this fair at BEPC, and I'm like, okay, and you've got to go talk to her and tell her the story. Like, she needs to know that she was right. And this is what it was. And so the very last day, I got up the courage of go, okay, Sandra McLish, you guys might know her. She does wilding stuff. Anyway, I told her, introduce myself. I said, this was a long time ago. She goes, oh yeah, that was like 10 years ago when I was first opening my gifts and I was not very confident. I figured, okay, I must have made a mistake or reread the energy. And I go, no, you were right. And then when I went back home and my emails a few weeks later, they were all there. Her emails were there. They were just hidden. I never got her emails, but she did respond. So that was an interesting story. And it was like, wow. And then the next one in the order was, when I moved to Panama, I started working with insects, and like, I made friends with the dragonfly because they told me they were the council members, the spokesperson for all the insects, and they were always biting me. I go, okay, can you please, I'm talking to this insect. I shared this with you. I go, can you please talk to the insects and tell them I want to co-create this space and I want to introduce myself? And they're like, yeah, sure. So after that, like, I stopped getting bitten. I didn't have to use the spray on myself, and I go around with bare feet all the time, and there's tons of insects here. So when people go, how come you never got bitten? It's hard for me to, like, I don't know if I need to share the whole story with them, because they might think I'm loco en la cabeza, so I just don't share it. Like, oh, I don't know, gotten used to it. So that was the second story. The third one is the blue beings. So I was doing meditation and I was opening up to my gifts, and I started watching. Someone told me a lot of light codes are coming in, and the blue beings are here for us. And I'm like, oh, who are they? I don't know if they're the Arcturians or the Lyrans, whoever they are. But when I started meditating and looking at the sunsets, I started noticing these blue figures. I'm like, oh, that's the blue beings. About a week later, I had these glass blocks in my bedroom. In the middle of the night, I heard this vibration, and it sounded like someone was on the outside of my house. And light started coming through these glass blocks in my bedroom above my bed. And it was these blue beings. Like, I could feel their energy, and they were telepathically communicating with me. So when I was worrying, they would come in almost every night, or a couple, 2-3 times a week. They would telepathically tell me the answer, and which would negate and neutralize any of my worries that I had. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. That's true. I remember that. And then I would fall right back to sleep. Sometimes they would stay there, and I said, okay, I think I'm done. There's nothing else that I need, but thank you. And they're like, no, we're going to heal you while you sleep. So just go to sleep and we'll be healing you. And sometimes they would stay there for an hour. I would wake up and they were still there, but they would vibrate, send a blue light through the windows that we had in that bedroom. And I've never seen them. I moved, so I'm in a new location, but I'm going to call them in and see if they'll appear again in another form. So those are three things that. Oh, actually, there's one more. There was a fly that when I was meditating and talking to the insects, and I'm sitting in the corner of my yard in Panama. There were only two trees there because I was looking for some greenery. And I opened my eyes, and there's this huge. It was the size of a drone. You know how big those are. They're like maybe 6 inches across, and I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I'm like, who has a drone that's here? And then it looked right into my eyes, and then it sat down on this volcanic rock, and then I could hear it buzzing like someone was operating it. Like it was, I could feel its frequency of energy with this vibrational buzzing. So I thought, okay, someone's controlling this. Like it's someone out there that's. And then it left. It got up and it just flew away. And then when I went into a meditation, I drew a picture of it and I was asking people around here, have you ever seen this bug? Have you ever seen this bug? And they're like, no. It was how big? And then I realized after my next meditation that it is the insects that are here. It's just the future of them. So the veil, disappeared, and it was basically me communicating with the insects of Panama, but in the future. So, and that's what they told me. So that was another story that still kind of blows my mind. I have a picture of it that I wrote in my journal of it. But yeah, so those are the most amazing and weird things that have happened to me recently, all within the last few years.
Wow.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks. Anyone else have few
Yeah,
stories to
Melody,
share?
you wanted to say
May
something,
I?
right?
What? May I?
Yeah,
Or
go
Go ahead.
ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Melody.
okay. Okay. Um, I think every day is wild and amazing, but one in particular really stands out because it really highlighted, and maybe you guys can chime in afterwards because I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Um, how connected we are, especially with our children. So I work on missing persons cases. And then when I started getting into it, what I do in my practice is I go outside and I use the sun. And I look into the sun and it opens up in a portal for me and I go. And so on this particular incident, this case I was working on, I was outside, I was in the sun, and I was going. I felt the woman. I saw what happened to her. I literally feel into her body. I can feel the texture of the countertops. I can feel the clothes on my body until she's passed. And then I see what's happening with the body. It was quite a traumatic incident. And so I pulled out of the sun, and I sat there for a little bit and I was shooken up, and it took me several minutes to realize that I was no longer her. And this is pretty typical to have happen. And then I'm here, I'm Melody. It's okay. I'm at my home. But what really got me was then I opened the sliding glass door and went inside my house, and there's my little girl sitting at the table coloring, and I'm going to cry again because I don't want anything to impact her. And she's literally drawing the woman's blouse, exactly same color of pants, everything to a T. And I'm getting goosebumps again. So I feel like that was my most wildest, because it was a big eye opener on how I really have to be careful with that energy and who's around me, and how my daughter can tap into me, or is always tapped into me. I said it very short and sweet, but that was really a big eye opener for me.
Yeah, well, what I'm getting about that is that, yeah, I mean, your daughter is just as connected as you are. Like your gifts, her gifts she got from you. So for her to be able to tune into you is like nothing, because she's been doing it from the moment she was born. It's just like, what's going on with mom? You know,
Yeah.
as far as when you do this work, then yeah, you definitely need to find a way to separate yourself from her, because yeah, she will pick up those things, and because she doesn't understand what they mean and the significance of them, like they could easily turn into like nightmares and give her some unfounded fears and all that kind of stuff. So what I would say is, if when you, like, right before you step into that process, like you say, you go outside, you look at the sun, and that creates the tunnel, right? So right before you, like when you have the intention that you're gonna do this work, that you actually like either put a shield over yourself so that all of it is contained in your energy field so she can't pull that from you, or you protect her energy field so that she doesn't pick up anything from you, or both, whichever you feel is necessary. So that way, if all she gets from you is that maybe you're a little upset or a little disoriented, that's okay, because that's part of the normal human experience of, interactions with people. But you don't want her to pick up any of the images. You don't want to, because as you go along, because I've noticed for people who continue to do this, like the experiences actually get more graphic. So in the beginning, like you might just see things, and then you start to hear things, then you start to feel things, then you start to smell things. You know what I mean? Like the experience just becomes more immersive. And that is the last thing that you want to pass to your kids, especially since they don't have any concept of what they're looking at, and and they don't know where it's coming from. So that's what I would say, is to just make sure that you have some sort of energy barrier between you and her whenever you get ready to do your work, just in case. I mean, because you may have a case where it's like it's not that big a deal, and it's like, okay, I think I found this person, but you don't necessarily get all the gory details. But if you end up with a case like that, you don't want that information inadvertently passing to your kids. So that's what I would suggest.
Have you looked at your soul contract with her?
My daughter?
Yeah.
No, no, I haven't.
I
I
think
just
you'll,
know she's incredible,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we're very much in tune, more so than the average.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there might be like a partnership contract there,
Mhm.
and which is okay. But again, yeah, that's something to look at just to make sure that there are certain things that don't come into her realm of experience before she's ready.
Yeah. At least until she's 8 years old. How old is she now?
She's 11.
Okay.
She's 11.
Okay.
And she's pretty, because of what I do, I'm very open with her. So she knows, and she's starting to see and come into her powers a lot.
Mhm.
So we are very open. I talk to her about everything, and sometimes she even says, like a couple nights ago, she's like, "Mommy, you need to work on a client of mine's dad." She goes, "You need to go work on him." And so I go in and go work on him, but she's picking up stuff all the time. But working on, okay, now it's time to separate, or you don't need to do what I'm doing unless you want to. Well, one day maybe I do. Okay.
Have you talked with her yet about like shielding and boundaries just for herself?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
She could probably do a better job.
She's
Honestly, so could I. I'm 48. I could still do better. We can always do better. But yeah. I have never intentionally, except for when we're in a moment, shielded her. And so I really appreciate you bringing that up,
Mhm.
because I will be doing that now.
She's very practical. this is just like data for her. It doesn't necessarily impact her emotionally.
No,
Um,
not like it does me.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, but not now. And that's the thing. It's like
that's
as mom's cases get more complicated and get more graphic,
Hmm.
like, getting more details, like she will be able to pick up on that stuff, and that's when it will start to disturb her. So that's why it's like it's better to kind of throw up the shield now so that she gets as much as she can handle where she is now, and then as she gets older, that boundary will change, and then she'll start to recognize more things and she'll be able to mentally handle it.
Yeah.
thank you.
This totally may not be needed, but does she have something like Oracle cards or something that's like a place where she could focus some of her
She
attention so
makes her
she's not
own.
just trying to do it like you? Okay. Yeah, she makes her own.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
Damn.
Does she have any friends that talk about any of this stuff too, or is it just her?
Thankfully, she has one friend that's incredibly psychic as well. And we always would play, I call it psychic hide and go seek. And I blindfold them and put earmuffs on them, and they have to energetically find each other in the room. And it's so fun to play with them. So yeah. So I have psychic little kids that we play together. It's fun. Kids pick it up so quick and easy too. I love teaching them how to just tune in and feel each other.
Because they've grown up with you where you haven't shut it down in them. It's
That's
just they're so
that's
open. Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, just teaching her how to be grounded and shielded all the time, um, and how to clean and clear her space. Um, yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm.
That's great. And
Yeah,
anyone
that's
else
cool.
want to share? And Ellen who asked the question, do you want to share something? If anyone else wants to share.
You were talking about, or someone asked a question about sharing with family members or friends, your experience when you share, give out information about your gifts and how other people react to it that aren't maybe, on the same wavelength as what we do. I just had an experience. It was a court date, a Zoom court date with my family member, my brother, with my family's estate, my mom who passed away. And before I came to Panama about a year and a half ago, my brother was head of the estate. He's an attorney, and I don't think that well, I'll just say that he's not in the high vibrational level. So it was all about money for him. And my dad had passed away in 2004, and my mom passed away more recently. But my dad is the one that came in through a dream. Like that's the first time I ever got information from someone dead. And I kept a dream journal. I recommend people do this because you always think we're going to remember our dreams, and we do learn a lot. I think if we allow ourselves to go in and look at dreams to see what they mean, pick the pieces apart, and see what this aspect of ourselves is trying to teach us. At least I did. I had a lot of good information from my dreams. And this one in particular, my dad's booming voice came in, and it was like, tell Eric to, there's enough money for everyone. Do not fight. I wrote it down exactly as he said, because I don't even talk like that. Do not fight. There's enough money for everyone. We're dead and gone. Release this, and your job, your role will be complete. I wrote that down. And so my dad I told him, well, you need to go to Eric and tell him this. He goes, I tried, but he's not listening. So I said, okay, well, my brother thinks I'm crazy. My whole family members think I'm crazy anyway. But I said, Dad, they're not going to believe me. And my dad says from the other side, tell him anyway. I'm like, okay, this is going to go in the court documents, right? Like, this is your dead father coming in, from the other side saying this is what you need to do. And so I did. And then last on the Zoom meeting, it got brought up. I didn't think that it would even come up, but my brother hired another attorney, and they're like, oh, this is going to work really good. It's going to get people to think she's really crazy. They made a ruling, which was, no one was really happy about it, but it is what it is. And it disentangled me from my family. But by using my voice and opening up my throat chakra to say what really happened, to, you know, my brother knows deep down that really is my dad, but because we were raised Catholic, he told me that's disturbing. His response was, that's disturbing. You know, it was like, well, it's only disturbing to you because, you know, you're, you know, you think you might be going to hell maybe or something, you know, but it was like I just needed to share that. And, you know, my family members never understood me, and it doesn't matter. Uh it's not my job to care about what other people think of me, you know, and so I don't care. And, you know, I'm not in a popularity contest, and I have to set the stage if I'm going to talk about this because people might, you know, not be ready to hear it. And I don't always share it with other people. But this was a time I felt like I'm going to pass through all this fear that I think I have here over the surface and just say my truth. And it did come out in court. But I'm glad that I did because it really didn't affect anything anyway. It just made me feel like I could tell my truth and be myself, you know, with everybody, including my narcissistic brother. So I was glad to put that behind me. And now I cut the cords. I don't have any more. I feel like I've released that, or at least I'm doing this over the next few days to try to do my best to clear all energy fields, no more contact with any more family members. It's like it's very freeing for me, and it opens up a lot of energy and brings back my own energy that was always mine that I was giving away anyway. So thank you for letting me share that.
Mhm.
And,
Okay, so to answer the question about like how your family reacted to that, my thing was that because I've been kind of involved in it since the time I was an infant, for me, like there was no reaction. It was like, oh, I'd say stuff like, Mom, there's a thing crawling on the wall, and she'd say, okay, no problem. And she'd bless our house. Or I'd say, Mom, there's a ghost that's walking through the house. She'd be like, oh, did they say anything? I'm like, no, like, okay, well then let them keep walking. I'm like, okay. It was like, this is Tuesday. It was not a big deal for me. And so I grew up with it being like, this is how it is. When I got to school, then I understood that not everybody could see stuff the way I did. And for me, because, you know, real life happens, I just would ignore whatever I saw and just kept doing all the normal stuff everybody else did. But, um, so yeah, I never had anybody say, "Oh, that's weird," or "Don't say that," or anything like that. And then when I actually told my family, like, "Okay, I am like officially a kahuna now," and they're like, "Oh, okay." Like nobody blinked an eyelash about that. I'm like, "All right, sounds good." So for me, there was no pressure, there was no "Don't say that," you know, no suppression of any kind. They were just like, "Fine, you be you, that's cool."
and that's great. Now, so Ellen did write. She says, I had a visualization dream from my deceased father. It was like a lucid dream, vivid, colorful. I couldn't open my eyes. It was fast. I felt my hand grabbed. My father was outlined in light. He handed me a seed to plant. A huge butterfly landed on it, and the sunflower grew up towards the sun. The sunflower seed oil dripped downwards. My father told me this would help me. I had just been diagnosed with thyroid disease. We told each other we loved each other. He had to go and walk through a door in a tree. He said before he left, I'll send you a sign. I received my sign on the 4th of July. That was years ago. We went to the fireworks, and I heard someone say, Look, a butterfly. There was a butterfly firework in the sky. It was beautiful. The thyroid gland is shaped like a butterfly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Beautiful.
cool.
I love.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw you writing thyroid, like just sometimes, but my body is an unusual thyroid. Instead of being like a butterfly, I only have like one wing, like one side.
So you fly in circles?
I guess I do. But I
The, th-
no. Just
Oh,
that's more of a comment about medicine. About medicine tells us that bodies look like this is the body, and not all bodies are the same. We all know that. They're not all the same inside. My ex brother-in-law was a surgeon, and he said you never, never, never know where anything is until you cut someone open. You just don't know. Some people have things backwards. Things are just in different places than like what the textbook says things are. You just never know.
hmm.
So yeah. But yeah, so I guess, right, we get an awareness of a sign, and then I guess if we ask, we can learn what a sign was, or we get the hit that something is going to be a sign.
Hmm.
Yeah, the sign shows up.
Yeah.
Oh, when did I find out about my thyroid? Well, yeah, and so the medical field wanted to do a ton about my thyroid. I never had a thorough, um, like a thorough real doctor's appointment until I was in my whatever it was, 30s or something, later 30s maybe. And it was a nurse practitioner that just the first time just touched me everywhere, like and felt everything and really looked at me deeply. And I remember she kept looking at this part of me and touching me. And she said, to go see a specialist. And I was like all freaked out, waiting, for a few weeks until I got an appointment. And it just turns out that this side of my thyroid is totally collapsed, and this side is like 2, 3 times as big as it typically should be. And I was a biologist, so I did a whole bunch of research myself. And so this was more than 20 years ago now. So typically, thyroid cancer doesn't kill you for at least 20 years. So back then, I was like, I'm young, 20 years is far away. And but I did do, I'm stubborn, and I did do like a sonogram. I didn't let them cut into me or anything. I don't believe in that. I actually think that, um, uh, what's the word I want? When they cut in and take a piece of the tissue to look at it.
Biopsy.
A biopsy. I
Biopsy.
think biopsy is part of what's responsible for spreading metastasis and spreading
Yep, I
cancers.
do
This is,
too.
I have some evidence for that too. So I don't let people cut into me. I'd rather like try to go on the outside and cut something out completely. But so I did a sonogram, and if it were cancer, there would likely be blood going to the area and things like that. And there was nothing like that. And also, so I have, I mean, it's more details, but the thyroid has like nodules in it, growths in it. Mine had big ones. Well, it turns out they're normal. Thyroids normally have nodules. Mine are just bigger. It's part of mine being bigger. I figure if this side's gone, this side maybe is like twice as active, whatever, because my hormone levels are normal too. So anyway, they wanted to
Compensating.
do all kinds of stuff to me. I'm like, nope, biopsy, you'd never be able to hit all the things anyway. Like, forget it. I'll just watch it. So yeah, that was more than 20 years ago. I'm still here. So
The
anyway,
thyroid is related to the fifth chakra.
okay. So yeah,
There's
expression,
a,
communication.
no, it's divine will. It's the heart center is where the upper centers and our lower mundane centers, that's like a gateway. And so the fifth chakra is related to divine will. It's using our will as our own aspect of the divine through our voice, like speaking our truth, coming from a place of authenticity when we're using our voice and using our will.
Well, I was totally at a great stage of learning to use my voice to express my will, like right at that point in my life. So that was when we noticed it. But
Yeah.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah, there's some past life stuff tied up around that.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Ooh,
Yeah, yeah.
interesting.
And so in terms of Alan being diagnosed with thyroid disease, is it where your thyroid does not produce enough of the things, or I'm a huge supporter of like being an advocate for ourselves in terms of medical stuff. Like we're the ones that are responsible for knowing our body. I won't necessarily notice everything, know everything, respond to everything I ought to address. I think we're responsible for sensing, does something feel like it ought to and something not? And is there something to check and not like to just go do something because someone else tells us to go do it.
Yeah, no, I'm paranoid. I'm like, what is this? And then I go to the doctor. Doctor's like, nothing. I'm like, fine.
Well, I had that this season with the allergies. I've never had bad allergies before. I had no idea. I just felt so sick. I went and got an X-ray for my lungs. I'm like, do I have pneumonia? Like, what the heck is going on? I had allergies. So yeah, now I know what it's
Yeah,
like,
well,
feels
your
like.
your allergies were bad this year because I remember we had a couple of conversations and you were like so stuffy and so yeah, yeah.
Well, fear came up a little bit in some of these examples. If anyone else has any more examples, go ahead. Oh, let's
Oh,
see. So just an answer in here. You still produce thyroid hormones? Yeah, you have autoimmune. Yeah, where your body is autoimmune against your thyroid. I was wondering. Okay. You said I'm a type 1 diabetic. I've read when we have a water moon sign, we're more likely to have autoimmune issues. Oh, I
I
wonder.
really hate when they do that because that just pre-programs people when they read it. I mean,
We can believe ourselves into having something. That's
yeah,
what you mean?
The
yeah,
biology of belief.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Well, I assume if we grow up with narcissists, we're more likely to have autoimmune stuff. If we're tight and anxious and hard on ourselves and perfectionists, we're more likely to have autoimmune stuff. Like there's so many things that can cause it.
yeah,
And what about when you're not as likely to have it? If you don't worry, if you meditate, if you like negate that energy by replacing it with something different, right?
Right,
Focusing
have good
on
healthy
something different.
boundaries and
mhm,
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing though, like the whole medical model is based on fear. So
Yeah.
if we can't make you fearful, then that fear can exacerbate your condition, whatever it may or may not be.
Right, whatever
And oh, look,
tendencies.
here's some more medicine for you.
I mean, that's what the placebo effect is based on, right? You believe you're getting a medicine that's going to cure you, you feel better and you're cured,
Right, so if
right?
we have any beliefs that we won't be better, we're not better. Same idea. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Well, and that's true, like even if you were to do energy healing. I mean, because I've worked on people who like they're like, yeah, I want to heal, and then I send them energy and the energy's bouncing back at me, and I'm like, there's something in you that does not want to be healed. So we need to look at that because no matter what you say, your energy system is telling me a completely different story. So belief is the cornerstone of health and
everything,
wellness and yeah, and everything
everything.
in our existence. So if there's something you can't do, there's a belief somewhere,
Hmm.
and it may not even be yours.
Yeah.
That's the funny part.
Or you might be carrying a lineage thing um, that
Yeah.
you,
Blocks you.
Yeah. Or it could be like a past life belief that you've carried through and didn't even realize you had it.
hmm.
C
Yeah.
unmuted and maybe wants to say something. Candace, did you want to jump in?
No,
Are you sure?
Come on.
Your technology is telling you that you have something to share, but it's up to you.
And she goes back silent. Melody, did you want to say something?
Oh, I was just gonna say that I've experienced that with healings too, and I always tell clients that it takes three of us. It takes me, spirit, and you to want this to happen. I mean, I'm powerful, but I can't do it all on my own. I can't. So if you're not in it 100%, we're not going to get anywhere. We got to work together, and it's once again that positive energy and getting out of that fear and being ready to accept, allow.
Can I just add that Western medicine model is like you go to the specialist that's board certified to, have all this knowledge for whatever it is that you're facing with your diagnosis. And if you walk away and they don't heal you, then the belief is, oh, well, he was bogus. He wasn't a good referral. He didn't know what he was doing. So I have all my new patients when I work with them, watch this documentary that I watched about 10 years ago. And it's called The Healed Documentary. And it basically is, it's got Deepak Chopra in it. It's got Dr. Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza. And, it basically talks about what you just said, the biology of belief, and it's a co-creation. So I tell my clients, you have to watch this first before I'll even schedule an appointment because I want to set a common field so people know that it is a co-creation. It's you, it's me, it's God, Buddha, the higher source, whoever that is, and we all can come together. And like you said, Melody, if you're not in it 100%, then maybe you're not ready. I'll do a session for you, but just know that this is the biggest. Your intention is can he heal you or kill you. So It's up to you. It's your choice. So it feels like it's more of a, they're doing it with intention to know that they play a role in this. We all do, right? Like, what do we want to create together? And so it feels like I'm getting the patients that are really, it opens their mind up if they're ready. And if they're not, if they still want to come, that's fine. But, if they walk away and they're still struggling or they're just not ready, that's okay too. But it's like, I don't know, I feel like I need to have some kind of a commonality field so they know how powerful they are, how powerful we all are, and what role we can choose to play.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand like how much input of their own is required because we're used to kind of handing over our power to someone else and just saying, please fix me, versus in this type of, when you're dealing in the metaphysical world from energy healing, it's like, no, it's not me fixing you, it's me helping you fix you.
Mhm.
Like you're doing the healing, not me. The word healer is a misnomer. I'm not the healer, you are. I'm the conduit for the energy to help you heal, but I'm not healing anything.
I always felt that healing was a return to a state of balance, returning back to homeostasis, that something's out of alignment, which could manifest from a lot of different reasons. Um, but I think that people that go to doctors, some of them don't want to stop the way they're living their life. And so it's like, give me a pill so I can keep doing whatever it is I'm doing because I don't want to stop doing it. So fix me that way. Some people don't know. They're kind of still unconscious, if you will, and don't recognize that they are the creator of cause and the physical body is a reflection of part of that consciousness. Um, and again, you can look at past life stuff that's impacting it, ancestral stuff, lineage stuff, contracts that you made that are still in effect but don't necessarily need to be in effect. Um, there's a lot of different things to look at. And the other thing that, I mean, don't get me wrong, if I'm in a car accident and I'm bleeding everywhere, just don't sprinkle herbs on me. Take me to the hospital. But I just think Western medicine just thinks I'm going to isolate this one thing and treat and treat it, but we're a whole system, and you're making me laugh, Kai. And they're
Like
not.
seeing salt, salt, little pepper.
Um,
Good.
so they don't recognize the body's not an isolated thing. It's all together. It's a whole system. You can't do this one thing over here and not recognize the ramifications. They're not. And then all the side effects of the drugs just kill me. It's like side
Oh,
effects
it's awful.
include death, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's like that's worse than what the thing is that you got.
Then wouldn't that be called a direct effect then? Why don't they just call it a direct effect? That's what it is.
Potentially. And it's big business too. It's
And
huge.
so are side effects are a big business
Yeah.
because with some medicines, the side effect is now used for something else. I forgot the name of that drug that was used for acid reflux, and it's also
Oh yeah, yeah,
prescribed to
yeah.
women.
Oh, Plasmazole. I think.
No, the other one, something else. It
Elixir?
starts with the R something. It is prescribed to women who want to increase their lactation.
Oh, okay.
I one is domperidone, but that one is in Canada, but the one here is R something. I can't remember. I wrote a whole paper on that when I was in college, because I wrote about lactation failure, and that's what I had, and that's what I was offered to prescribe that medicine. And I was like, okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna go to a National Institute of Health website, like the official website, and read about it before I swallow it, okay? Because I have a 3-week-old on my hands, and I am already dipping into postpartum depression, so I really don't want to exacerbate anything. Okay. So I came home, and when I had this moment of clarity, I opened the website and I read all the other wonderful side effects. And the side effects were depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. Just what a young mother needs. Um,
Yeah.
Wow.
yes, I refused to take it. I said, just give me formula and leave me alone because it's not worth it.
No.
Maybe I'll be able to breastfeed, but at what price? You know, and I cannot remember the name of the medicine. It's been 13 years since then, and I never regretted not taking it. But the side effect was that everybody was leaking milk, and that's why they started prescribing it to women to increase lactation. But initially, it was not even initially, it was the um, acid reflux drug, but before that, it was some anti-anxiety or something like that. So some kind of the medicine to use for some kind of mental health issue. And like, so you're giving me the mental health issue medicine so I can produce my breast milk.
I'm just thinking about how it's such a big experiment. Like we kind of have an idea about what these things do, and at the same time we have no idea at all. And
Yeah.
so like that's I don't like taking anything.
And they
'Cause,
don't test for
yeah.
women. All the original stuff, it's always for men. And so there was no testing to see what it would do to women. It's like, come on.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
men were leaking milk too.
I'm sorry, what?
Men were leaking
Men were
milk
also
also,
leaking
yeah.
Oh,
milk
yeah,
too.
lactating men. Now that would have been interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just not
Yeah.
going to have any federal government doing any of these tests anyway now, so it's even more of a okay. Fear. We
Oh,
were talking
that's
about
Well,
fear
it's
earlier, or
Here.
negative
just really
thinking.
funny. Yeah. It's funny though, because I had to go in for a cardiac MRI, and I actually signed a document that said I understood that medicine is not an exact science. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Wow.
okay.
Finally.
Yeah,
It's
but I was just
statistical.
like, that's some confidence building stuff right there. Like you basically kind of, I mean, the whole thing is like, come to Western medicine, we can cure you, we can help you, we can fix everything kind of stuff. And then I get this little phrase that says, medicine is not an exact science. In other words, it's a toss up. I'm like, wow, thanks.
I
I
don't
always
re
joke that
Medicine
that's
is
why
not
they
an
call it the
exact
practice of medicine.
I don't remember what it I don't remember what it is. I think it's one of the ways that they do like a visualization when you go in a big long tube
Oh,
for
like an
something,
MRI or a CAT
MRI.
an
scan.
MRI.
Yeah.
There was some question about me getting an MRI, and for some reason I went through all the fine print and I'm reading all the stuff, and like it turns out that because I worked somewhere or something, I don't remember what it was I was doing, but because I worked somewhere, maybe because I did some stained glass for a while or something, I don't know what it was, but I shouldn't go get an MRI because there's a risk that I will go blind. And like seeing is
Mm-hmm.
such a part of my gifts, right? I was like, but like, so how, like, if I'm ever in an emergency and I'm unconscious, how will anyone know that I should not have this thing?
Wow.
Like, so
They won't. Yeah.
I feel grateful that I
Unless
read
you,
the fine print. But yeah, I have to go look it up and figure out what it is. But yeah, I think I'm not supposed to have a.
yeah, so unless you like have that purposely added to your medical record,
That's what
it's
this
like,
person, I'm like thinking, like, do I need to wear a bracelet about this? I'm like, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
goodness. All these things. Uh, goodness.
Yeah.
Well, does anyone have any
Somebody
other?
once told me, yeah, that medicine is not an exact science. There is always a space for miracle.
It's a
And
bunch
I've
of
been told
experiments,
that,
and we have
yeah.
statistics. We do some testing and have some statistics, and so
Mhm.
then we move forward with what's likely.
Yeah.
Likely to
We
have the
try to
positive
make it
result we
an exact
want,
science.
not as likely for the bad
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. And then it's an
Yeah.
experiment with each person.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the other part of that too is like, I always tell people that medicine has its uses. Like you just need to be very careful about how you use it, but to just completely dismiss it out of hand is just not smart. Because yeah, I mean, I believe in energy medicine. I've seen it do like some incredible things that I never expected. But that doesn't rule out the medical model altogether.
And
Like
also,
each
even
has
our
its,
energy work is mysterious in its own ways, right? Because you were there, right, when Matt worked on me for the inflammation that I have, and then since then
Mhm.
I have been sleeping more. And I get that my sleep is related to my inflammation, but I didn't ask for him to work on my sleep. I was like, so obviously I was ready to sleep more, right? I would have
Yeah,
let this
well,
happen,
but
but I still am just like, oh goodness.
yeah, but that's the thing though. Like that means that's how your body chose to use that energy. Like it wanted to sleep more.
Well, I have been less inflamed. I mean, it did affect some things.
Because that's the
Uh,
thing. It's like a lot of what happens in with energy healing. It's like you're basically you're giving energy to your system who knows better than your conscious mind what you need. And so the energy always goes to where it's most needed for whatever purpose it needs to be used for.
Where I say
So
my
that's
unconscious mind. Yeah, my conscious mind, my unconscious mind really is the thing that knows. Maybe.
yeah, and so
En-
that's you needed more
Energy,
sleep.
energy follows the path of least resistance. That is where it goes. So that makes sense for what you just said about that it's going to go in and the mind knows where it wants to go, but literally it goes to the path of least resistance. That's an energetic principle. Yeah. And it doesn't care what it activates. If you think of like an electrical outlet, it doesn't care if you plug in a hair dryer, a toaster, a paper clip. It doesn't care. It just is indiscriminate. It'll activate whatever it comes into contact with. Um, so like if you first start to like go in and want to do your shadow work, pretty much we've created a massive amount of energy around our wounded parts to feel safe and protected. And there's been a lot of intent, whether conscious or unconscious. So when you first make the conscious choice to say, this is what I want to do, and you set that into motion, it's going to follow the path of least resistance. And then you wonder, like, why is all my stuff coming up? It's because you told the universe this is what I want to do, and the energy is going, and it goes, like I said, it goes to the path of least resistance.
Yeah, which is funny because when I used to work on people, when I worked at a bookstore, like my friend would say, "Oh, my knee is killing me." I was like, "Okay, so I'll work on her knee." I, like literally put my hands on her knees, and she's like, "Why is my back tingling?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Yep, 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 yep. Or have you ever like scratched someplace and like you could feel it on another part of your body, like it's a little ping someplace else?
Well, but we know about a bunch of, well, at least scientifically, we know about a bunch of those connections, right? The idea of like,
Mhm.
because, right, there's our body is all on the bottom of our feet and it's on our palms and on our ears and like all these things. And I know just the soft tissue in the body, right? So working in one section and then there are things that are connected, they like, that go over to another area too.
Mm.
And someone in the chat asked, do we believe in reincarnation?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I said once that I probably in my past life I was a very chivalry man who was probably choked to death because and I've carried it over to this life because I get very chivalry like with women when it comes to like opening doors, letting them through, that kind of stuff. I'm like, after you, ladies first, and then and they're like, well, you go. Oh, right, okay, I go. Um, I forget who I
Oh,
am, and
interesting.
I really don't like wearing anything on my neck.
Mm.
I cannot wear anything, not even the lightest pendant that you can feel.
Mhm.
It just I feel like it's choking me. I can't wear scarves. I can't wear necklaces. I can't wear any of it. I never wear my keys that work on my neck. No matter how many times I get talking to you about it, I'm like, I can't. I have sensory issues. I was killed in my past, you know. I was choked to death in my past life, most likely, so I can't stand it. I'm sorry. You know, to someone who may understand, but to others, I have sensory issues. That's probably I just carried it from somewhere in the past life. He was probably a very gentleman who was most likely killed by choking. So, yeah,
Yeah, I'm actually hearing hanging.
maybe hanging.
Mhm.
Same kind, same principle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know. He liked women and they hung him. So
Well, I think that's probably why he was hanged. I got the impression that he was kind of a Don Juan character, messing around with people's
okay,
wives.
okay, there we go. Yeah. I carried the manners through. I'm a straight woman, but I carried the manners that he had. So
Yeah.
and
No,
the
and that's the thing.
dislike
Like
for
we can be carrying stuff from past lives
Mhm.
and from our ancestors
Mhm.
and just not even know it.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, one of the things that I did is when I was doing my shadow work, and I was coming across all the stuff that I was like, okay, I need to get rid of this. And so I would actually go looking for what I call the energy anchor. It's like, where is that energy anchored? And sometimes it was in a past life, sometimes it was with my ancestors, sometimes it was like literally something lodged in my own body. And then I would go and figure out like how to get it out of there, with different techniques and stuff that I have. But yeah, I found stuff like in a past life, and I was like, yeah, I don't need to carry this stuff anymore. So what I do, my process of that is I go to, like, I talk with my guides and I'm like, okay, is this a door that I need to keep open? And they'll tell me yes or no. And depending on what's happening, I might actually go visit that past life because as a shaman, I can do that. And just kind of talk to myself in that lifetime and just be like, what's the deal? Or I might like walk them through the trauma, or I might try to alleviate the trauma in some way. There's lots of different techniques that I can do or if worse comes to worse and I can't do anything to change it, I actually just shut the door between that life and this one. And whatever energy I have maintained or kept from that time, I just gather it all up and I send it back. And then from the universe, I refill that space with good energy that is for my highest good in this lifetime.
Mhm.
And then that's how I disconnect from past life things.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can inherit some positive things from, your previous lives. Like I
Yeah.
said, that's where my manners are coming from, probably.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
And that's the good part about like pinpointing what it is that you don't want, like the
Mhm.
thing with your neck. Like you can go to that point and like adjust for that. There's different techniques we can use for that, but
Mhm.
still keep all the manners. You can keep all the good stuff. You still want to keep the lessons. You
Right.
still want to keep
Yeah.
all the good stuff, but you don't want to carry any of the trauma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For-
Yeah,
Can I share something?
Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead, Melody.
Yeah. For me, I know that many of my past lives and most recent one, I've been a galactic being.
I'm going to
And
bring
so,
you up here. Is that okay?
what?
Are you okay coming on camera?
Oh, sure.
Okay, go ahead. So most of your lives you've been a galactic being.
Yeah. When I'm laying down to even meditate or run my energy, I don't feel my human skull. I have a really hard time connecting. And like when I see my hands or feel my hands when I'm trying to really feel into my body, they're longer. I still feel the presence of that galactic body form. It's just like, no, my head's up here. It's not this. I don't understand this little body I got. I'm a small woman and I feel very tall. My hands are a lot longer. My head's bigger. Something's missing.
Yeah, anyone
Mm.
else? Any comments about that?
Yeah, I think it's just because for lack of a better way to say it, the chakra arrangement is just a little different. And so that's why when you're trying to connect, you're just because, like this body is used to connecting in a linear fashion, whereas your alien body, it's like if you're, it's like those, you like those alien movies where the head is like elongated in the back kind of deal. It's
Yeah.
like the chakra's actually back there.
Yeah. Yes.
So-
You get it. It's what it feels like. Exactly.
Oh goodness. Yeah.
So
Like
yeah,
you
we
said,
believe in
Lorelai.
reincarnation.
Didn't you say, Laura,
Yeah.
like someone never knows, the surgeon never knows where people, their organs are going to be until they open them up. Like they could be anywhere, even in this body.
Yeah. Well, you know what's really interesting is like I actually went into a future life as part of my shadow work. And I was like, okay, and my guides are really careful with me. They're like, just go to do what you need to do and come back. Like, don't look at anything else. Don't get any information. Don't try to get the lottery numbers. Just come back. So I get over there and I try to do whatever I was supposed to do. And I looked at my hands and I was like on like a different planet because the atmosphere was completely different and my skin was green with scales. But I was actually upright. I wasn't like on all fours. I was like, okay. And I'm like, that's interesting. And they're like, time to go. And so I got pulled back into this lifetime. I'm like, oh, come on.
So does anyone
But
else
yeah.
have the experience that Kai makes lots of sense, green and scaly? Like it totally makes sense to me that you've got reptile energy. Does anyone else feel
Why?
that about you?
But
Yeah.
reptiles are beautiful and sweet.
Yeah.
I love them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
mean,
like lizards.
I do like reptiles, but I mean, like, but I don't, yeah, I don't, no one's ever made that.
I'm just saying, I have that feeling as you talk about this, so I was
Okay.
wondering if anyone else did too.
Yeah, I don't know. No one's ever said that to me, but yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I'm just like, okay, I'm like, I'm green.
What was your hands like? You said you noticed your hands, but I wanted to hear more about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, they were kind of like the hands I have now, but they were green and they had like longer tipped nails, kind of like lizard nails. And
Oh, wow.
I just never thought anything of it because it was just like, oh, okay, this is just me. I never thought anything of it. And I had to go, I can't even remember why I went there, but it was like I had to do this one thing or correct this one thing to affect something that was affecting something in this life. And then, but yeah, I was only there for like a couple of minutes and I just kind of looked around. They're like, okay, time to go.
Too much looking.
Have you watched Wicked?
Have I watched what?
Wicked?
Yeah.
Okay, remember Elphaba
Alphabet.
and her usual line? No, I'm not seasick. No, I did not eat grass as a child. Yes, I was always green.
Hmm.
This is kind of what it reminds me. And she had those long nails.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember that hand with the claws that would give this shadow, right?
Uh-huh.
She just had very long nails, and she was green. That made her like stand out from the crowd. I don't know. It doesn't give me a reptile energy. It gives me Alphaba.
Yeah, I don't know. That's entirely possible. I just thought it was interesting, because when I asked to be taken to into my future life to correct whatever it was for the enhancement of this life, that's what I ended up with. I was just like, I'm green with scales. They're like, just do what you need to do. So it was fun.
What do you think of the idea of forward and back in time if there isn't really time and there are parallel pathways and like why do we play with this idea of forward and backwards? And
Well,
I'm
because
kind
I
of
think for
pushing all this
me,
up,
like
but
I have to kind of like I have to have a framework in which to work. I mean, like, yeah, like technically, like all time is like on top of each other, kind of like, like this, like a stack of pancakes kind of thing. Like everything affects everything else. But at the same time, like when I'm working, like I can't think of it in those terms. I have to be able to have some sort of linear process that my brain can follow so I can do what I need to do, even though the greater picture is that it's actually something else, something greater than what I'm envisioning. But I have to have a framework. Because if I think about like the person I was 3 minutes ago is still standing next to me, next to that's sitting with the person who's, you know what I mean? Like my brain is gonna go, "Rrr." So I need to be able to have some sort of framework to work within. So, and culturally, that's how we think of time, right? That we have a past, we have a present, and we have a future. And so working with that framework allows me to do all this work, even though in reality, that's not how it is.
Right. We got taught that time was a convenience of this physical reality, the 3D. It doesn't exist outside of this plane. And I think part of it is, well, twofold. One, this container that I'm in is made to function on this plane. It's limited. There's certain things it can do and certain things it can't do. Um, and then on the flip side of that, the spiritual, I mean, we're spirit having a human experience. And so I think that's part of the whole thing of being here is this mind in this body is limited. It only can do so much. And it can't entertain stuff like you were just talking about because it'll freeze up. It can't hold all that. Um, the mind tends to be very comfortable with, I've got it nice and labeled, it's in a box, it's all tidy, it's good. Don't confuse me with the facts. It's already it's already all here. I've got it. The mind is not like open-ended. It likes it nice and tidy. So yeah.
It's where quantum physics helps out.
Hmm.
I would
Well,
just,
yeah.
I'd make
I
a
mean,
leaping in a different direction. So yeah, go ahead wherever we are for a bit.
well, we're energy on this plane, and this plane vibrates slow enough that energy takes the form of matter. Um, and so, and when we were born, we don't remember our spiritual past because we're just basically a brainstem and a pair of lungs. We have no cognitive whatsoever. And so we don't have any awareness at all until our brain starts to grow more. And even that takes some time. And all during that time, the brainstem is taking in information. That's what it's focused on. It's focused on survival. And so everything that it encounters, it sifts for safety. So if you're in a trauma environment, then now it's hooking up trauma as well to the belief system because it's all going into the unconscious, and that's where our belief system is. And we create from thought, which comes out of our belief system. Um, so if you think you are this, I am this body, I am my thoughts. There's people that stay there. They never move on and become more aware that there are higher levels of energy, of consciousness, and that uh, we're here to gain that experience by living in this plane. But it's a total different reality if you step up a couple dimensions. It's nothing like this. Like I said, we got taught that time is a convenience of this physical reality, um, because it's slower. And I think it's in training as well, because if you're in another dimension where thought immediately becomes something, we need that training because here we're struggling to figure out how to deal with all the feedback mechanisms that this body come with. We got a physical body, we have an emotional body, we have a mental body. This vehicle comes with all kinds of bells and whistles. It's constantly giving us feedback. But again, it's only feedback. It's all perception. And then we create our reality out of our perceptions. So the more we clear and do our shadow work or go in and do deeper work, we're not only changing it for this time that we're here, but we're changing it outside of this time stream. Um,
Yeah, it's actually really good that we cannot manifest immediately. I mean, because most of the time we can't even get our words right,
oh,
much
we
less
don't,
anything
there'd be a
else.
lot of dead people.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just like I'm going to kill you, and
That's
then
right.
boom, all this stuff. It's just like it's just. I mean, even our word choices people don't understand that the words you use are significant or
Mhm,
can be.
mhm.
And so, yeah, the whole manifestation thing, it's like yeah, on this plane, it's like it's good that we actually have to work for it because, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason why they call it a spell, right? You're spelling out with your words
Mm.
what you want to manifest in a moment, right?
Well, our thoughts create reality. It's the law of cause and effect. So we are the creator of cause, which are our thoughts, and then we set our thoughts out, and that creates the effect. So if you're not real clean in your thoughts, you can think of like a little pond. So if you're like on alignment and you're all good, You throw a little pebble in there, and that thought just makes a nice little ripple. You take a big old rock and throw it in there because you're just spewing out, then it's gonna just make a big old mess, and everything's gonna go everywhere. Um, so the practice of mindfulness, where we um, have space before we react, that's a really good practice to create and follow, because you'll create less cause and effect. It'll be more in a higher frequency, and you'll also cause and effect is also creates karma. So you'll have a better karmic thing going forward. Um,
Yeah,
the
and
more,
if you work on your shadow work and you get at those beliefs that are driving the thoughts,
Mhm,
then you'll actually have a better chance of like manifesting on a higher level,
mhm,
meaning that what you manifest will actually be for your highest good and not just like some weird want.
mhm.
You know, because you can get whatever you want, but it's not always in your best interest.
True.
So,
But we also, it's like you put out to the universe, I want X, and the universe goes, okay, let's start working on X. But we are the one that is manifesting what we want. And so if we're not, our work is to clear what's ever stopping or kinking the hose, as I say, that thing coming to fruition. And that's where you can learn a lot. It's like when you go to put something out there and it's not happening, it's like, okay, what's my belief system around that? Do I even think I can have what it is that I want? I say I put it out there. Um, so that's really important, like you just brought up about when we go to manifest, it's all from our unconscious. Um,
I have a practical question about some of this. Before we got on, we started to talk a little about fear.
mhm,
And so, like, I don't like how the politics are unwinding in the country right now. So the idea of the pancake, I sort of let myself playfully say, oh, I could play with a parallel path that someone else won the election, right? I could do that. And then I know that it's like not my responsibility to get caught in fear so that I'm not able to take actions right now. And I say there's a like a very big practical, well, so there's a big view in terms of like the politics and what's happening. And I believe it's my responsibility to pay attention to the news and know what's going on. And then there's the local experience of like what's happening to me and my cash flow in my life. I'm just going to use the practical, like the big things in the world and then little things with me. And if I lock myself up in fear and I focus on what I don't want, I get that I'm more likely to have that stuff happen. That's
mhm.
my responsibility to stay open and fluid and focused on what I want and actions towards what I want.
Yeah, because our bodies are wired for survival, and so we are constantly looking for fear. I mean, we're looking, the
Hmm.
limbic system never stops. We get all into our cognitive, but it's constantly searching for danger. Um, and so fear is kind of a natural response, like we're looking for the tiger.
Hmm.
But that's where the whole mindfulness part comes in, is like, is it happening now? You can use an affirmation. In this moment, I am safe, all is well. So we have the personal, like you were just talking about, and at the same time, we also are part of a collective, that the collective is being influenced by everything that each individual is doing. So as a society, it's reflected, it's this, our society reflects the condition of the collective. Um,
Well,
and right go
there's
ahead,
my
I'm sorry.
impact on the collective and a reason why I choose to pay attention to the news
Mhm,
and why I let myself feel waves of however I'm responding to what's out there is I think that I have responsibility as a member of what's here that sometimes there might be actions for me to take.
mhm,
Like even if it's just as simple as I'm paying attention to notice that the freeway is going to be crazy next week. So I might choose to arrange my life where I'm not heading that direction,
mhm,
in that part of town.
mhm.
Or, some companies were paying attention to the threat of tariffs and they chose to order products ahead. Or uh, informing myself of like, right, that so the people pass around the things like what to say if ICE is there, right? Or
Mhm.
like what information about myself I might want to carry with me. There's like we just talked about like the bracelet. Do I want to have a bracelet on because I can't have an MRI? It's like, so where am I? I'm asking this in like theory. Where am I caught in fear that's a problem, and where is letting myself feel a wave of fear is good, and that it's alerting me to something where there is an action I want to take.
And that's the
And
distinction of, yeah, that's the distinction of mindfulness is here's feedback. I'm getting feedback. I'm feeling fear. Okay, what's behind the fear? What's going on here? And that's why we sit down and, like you were just talking about, and take it apart and see um, what's real fear, immediate fear, like is there a tiger about ready to bite my face off? Or is it pre-planning in case something happens?
right, and when
Um,
is that good, and when does it go into like stress, anxiety too much?
well, how much of your energy does it occupy? If that's where you are all the time, then
That's
that
clearly too much, yeah.
right. It's our emotions ebb and flow. They don't last. They come and go. And again, fear is automatically wired into our system. So that's something that it's like driving a particular car and you know that your one turn signal is wonky and you have to turn it off. It won't automatically click off when you're driving. So that's part of the vehicle that you're in. Okay, I got to remember, like when I signal something, I got to remember when I turn to click it off because it doesn't like to do that. So,
Mhm. Yeah, I
uh,
choose to push a button on my car because I know that I can accelerate faster when I need to, and I like that better.
yeah.
Mhm.
So if we recognize that we're already hardwired for that, then that's one way to get some space from it. And also breath, just breathing is a great way to reground yourself, come back into the present. Because when we get into fear, we're no longer in the present moment.
Well, and I guess part of why I'm asking this is because I know some people that are overly focused on these things and clearly in stress and anxiety all the time. And
Hmm.
then there are some, and I'm just going to draw it like this, but however it is, whatever twisted some other place is is more of focus on the positive and stay relaxed and don't look at the things that will cause the stress, anxiety. Focus on the local things that I can do something about now. And like my healthy place has some awareness of the other things and that I feel some responsibility.
But the only thing we can control is ourselves. I have no control about what's happening outside around me. I mean, it's going on, it's happening. I'm here as a participant to some degree. So I've got my own the personal work I do with myself, and then the impersonal is what I take out into the world. Um, but the only thing I can't control what somebody else thinks, what somebody else does, what somebody else does. Um, I have
But
no
like a
control.
thousand people to show up at a protest, it's a thousand individual people that are aware in a way that get themselves there. And there's
Yeah,
an
and
impact of a thousand people that's not the same as 10 people.
right.
And
No,
so how to
because yeah, every time you meet, and especially if it's for a positive thing, it's exponential by 10 per person. So by the time you get to 30 people, it's off the charts for the level of energy that's vibrating and happening. And that's why they're stressing, don't go to a protest and be violent. Peaceful protest. Keep that energy at a certain place. Don't take it. It's peaceful is a much higher vibration than the lower one. When we start creating like, you get people that come on purpose to disrupt and create violence in protest. Agitators, whatever you want to call them, bad actors. Um, so in fact, back in the civil rights thing, that was the whole thing. It was peaceful protesting, and they had horrible stuff done to them, and they really did not fight back. They got dogs on them, fire hoses, beatings, all kinds of horrible things. And they just kept going. No, we're going to hold, same with Gandhi, we're going to hold the thing. When we hold the thing, then that impacts the collective. And the higher vibration will eventually take everything up with it because the law of vibration and the law of correspondence, that creates a shift in the whole situation. Um, what we hold in our consciousness, how we move forward in the world with our energy, it makes a difference. And again, that whole thing even impacts again when we step out of the whole concept of time. At the same time, we're influencing ancestors, parallel universes. I mean, and it's funny because we think we aren't anything. What can I do? Just little old me to like make a difference in the world. It's like, no, we make a difference in how creation shows up. I mean, the more that we hold to mindfulness, our practice of um, holding to the higher energy, the practices that what's mine to do, I'll do what's mine to do. I'm not going to let myself get pulled off to other places. It makes a huge difference. We all make a difference. We're all important. It's like my analogy about the jigsaw puzzle. If you've ever put a puzzle together and you've lost a piece, you at that moment, you don't even care about the rest of the puzzle. You want to go find that puzzle piece. That's how significant we are. Every piece has to be there for that puzzle to be complete, to show up and represent all of what is just in that moment. It's a pretty wild ride.
Just thinking about what you were saying about the impact of numbers and the resonance of
Mhm.
the group. I think,
Mhm.
Alina, you're in a place where I know you don't have as many colleagues, and Anne, you're in a place where maybe you don't have as many colleagues as where some of us are. Have you found local people where you can be in this field and really share about what you do? Like Melody shared earlier that her daughter has a friend. Like Alina, do you have people nearby? Do you have anyone?
Yes, I just don't get around them very often because we all have, lives and jobs. The interesting part was I work in the public library, and one of the performers that I routinely invite to do children's programs is our local psychic reader.
Hmm.
Now, he does not come to do psychic readings at the library. He comes to talk about ghosts, to show like certain crafts, and because he's doing so many things besides just psychic readings. But I've also run into him at the local metaphysical events, and every time it's like, "Hey, Thomas, we'll see you on Monday at the library," you know. And those are two very different realms for us. Uh, I also don't come to the library to, read cards, or I do teach neurographics there sometimes, because that qualifies as a library program. But uh, I don't do any what would qualify as like heavy wool stuff. Um, but yeah, there are some here, and it's interesting how we cross paths on very different levels sometimes. And I've just found a local metaphysical shop that like opened what 9 months ago, 10 months ago. Um, and the lady that owns it, she runs metaphysical events every month. She just opens the doors to her shop, wherever there is spot for a small table and a chair, well, two chairs. And she will be like, just come over, we'll get you squeezed in. She charges very low fee for the spot because she literally just opened and she didn't gain momentum. And she's like, I don't want to turn anybody away. We have crowds. We fight for the spots at her shop now. You know, um, it was so interesting to just run into something like that. I donated my books to her because I just wanted them on the shelf.
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, I can put them on the shelf. You sure you don't want anything? I'm sure. I just want to see them on the shelf. You know. So it's kind of it's growing, but growing very, very slowly. This is Kentucky. It's a tough crowd. It's a tough crowd.
That's putting it mildly, yeah.
Well, that's great
Yeah.
that there's the store and that there are now so many of you that you can't all be in everything all the time. That's so good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think being together in person, being together in some energetic way, an intentional way with other people, where there's an alliance, I think that's impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to add one thing about, what we were talking about a few minutes ago, and that is that I think it's important, especially when we are in such a fearful situation, kind of like how we are now with our country, in terms of a lot of people are fearful for many different reasons, right? We It's important, I think, for especially for us in the metaphysical community to try to be as impartial as we can be, because that impartiality regardless of how we feel about something, I mean, like, definitely feel your feelings, understand your positions and all that kind of stuff. But when you look at a situation, understand that there is more to the story than what you feel, and that if you're going to take action on something, that it's important that you do so from a position of impartiality as much as you can.
Mhm.
So to that end, what I started teaching people to do is if you're looking at a situation that is, that is pretty clearly like one side versus the other, to recognize that it's not about necessarily one side or the other, it's about the energy that's in between them. That's that conflict energy in between them. And so if you are not able to be impartial about a situation because you're heavily leaning towards one side or the other, if you want to energetically make a difference in the situation, that you actually send healing energy to the conflict energy itself,
Mhm.
not to either side, but to what's between them. And the reason for that is so that, and the way I do it is you send energy with the intention that it will be resolved for the good of for the highest good of every person or everyone concerned,
Mhm.
okay? Which is different from everyone involved,
Mhm.
because there are a lot of people who are concerned but not involved.
Mhm.
So, for instance, like, some people are really upset about the whole ICE issue, right? With immigration and all that stuff. That is a huge, complicated mess that most of us, like, we don't, there's no way we're ever going to have all the information on all the variables that have come into play with this. But we all understand that there is a huge conflict about it. And so for us, we can actually just send energy to the conflict energy itself so that it will heal, it will unravel, and it will be resolved for the highest good of all concerned.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean everybody's going to be happy, but it does mean that it will contribute to the resolution of whatever that is. And I'm just using that as an example. Like, you can do that if, like, your kids are arguing or something like that. Like, like, you're trying to get them to stop fighting. Like, you send good energy to the conflict itself and not necessarily one side or the other. That is one of the ways that, as metaphysicians, we can maintain a position of impartiality as much as possible, regardless of how we feel about it.
I love that. Thank you,
Thank you.
Kai. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like there are times when I'm partial and I have an opinion and to make the greatest impact in that way, to help resolve the conflict that's there, to help unwind the conflict that's there. Yeah. Going in with an acceptance of of what's involved and an inclusion of that in terms of like you said, all that are concerned and that's all that are impacted. And but I feel like if I'm going in with any pushing away of any parts of it, I'm not able to be with the mix of all of it and be with the energy of it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you have to encompass it all. I mean, like, we obviously have our point of view, our position, and that's okay. You can take any position you'd like, but there is an opposing position, and then there's that energy in the middle that makes it unable for people to find a solution to this issue. And so what you really need to concentrate on is the energy in the middle so that it can be resolved for the highest good of all concerned. And like I
We,
said, that doesn't mean we're all going to be happy when it's done, but it will be done.
yeah. We got taught us a little saying that we say, and it's, I place the situation into the light, that all involved with this situation have access to this light to use as they see fit in accord with divine order and honoring the evolutionary path of all concerned for the highest good, which I think is paralleling with exactly what you were just saying. So I say that when I drive by a car accident, I drive, if I'm near at a store and a mom and a kid are having a struggle, I just put them in the light. So I don't have an attachment to outcome. I think that's the important piece. I allow it to be handled on a larger scale. I'm just supporting it so it can unfold for the highest good. Yeah.
I love that, Crystal. Can you repeat that again?
Yeah. Did you want to try and write it down?
Well, this is going to be recorded, so at least
Okay.
I'll have a second chance and I'll write it
Yeah.
down.
So you
Yeah.
can use this for anything. Yeah. A person, a place, a thing, an interview, whatever you want to. So I place this situation, this person into the light that all involved with this person's situation have access to this light to use as we see fit in accord with divine order, honoring the evolutionary path of all concerned for the highest good in accord with divine order.
I love that.
Because it's like, it reminds me of one of our cosmic conversations we had a couple months ago, and there was a person who felt that they had a skill set that made them be able to have the authority to move into somebody else's space and put energy in that space for that person because they felt that they had the right in a way to do it because they knew more or had more whatever than that person did. So it became complicated because they weren't recognizing the autonomy and the sovereignty of that person. They were deciding that they knew best for that person. I don't know what's best for some person. I mean, God, there's days I can barely know what's best for me. So, and on something on such a large scale, I just turn it back over to the divine because it's way above my pay grade. I'm a hot mess just right here, so my job's to take care of this.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like I said, there's so many things that we have no knowledge of.
Mhm,
There's so many variables in play that we could not even conceive of,
mhm.
but the divine knows everything.
Better.
So, my job is to just do the best I can, contribute to the unraveling, for the resolution, for the healing,
Mhm,
whatever needs to happen, just
mhm,
send that love and light energy to that conflict
mhm,
and just let it do what it's supposed to do.
mhm.
And we give ourselves light and more space in our energy too as we do that and surrender to it, right? It
Yeah.
just feels freeing to know I have no responsibility in this other than that. And then
I'm witnessing, and I'm saying, I see this, whatever, and I'm letting it be released for the highest good and for the best resolution to whatever this is. This is
Yep.
limited.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I like
we can only work in from the parameters of our what our perception is. Like,
Yes.
because I mean, like, even just like with me and Crystal, like we have two completely different like ways of looking at things, but we can still contribute in our own way.
Mhm,
And so there's a lot of stuff that Crystal knows I have no clue about. There's a lot of things I've done that Crystal has not done. So for us to have the same um reaction is untenable. It's just not going to happen. So
mhm,
so like I said, by having this kind of impartial stance and just putting it out there to have the best outcome for everyone concerned, then that allows the energy to be generic enough
mhm,
to do whatever it needs to do
mhm,
to resolve that situation without my personal bias
mhm.
or anyone else's.
Yeah.
Great, Melody. You had something you wanted to
Yeah.
share.
Well, I was just gonna say I like the saying that the Red Cross has about in their philosophy of think global, because it's really hard not to want to get involved in all the chaos or trauma you see happening in the world. But think global, but act local. And you can apply that to yourself and your world. So the more I work on me and heal me and clean my house, clean
Mhm,
my crap up,
mhm,
there's a ripple effect in the frequency. And kind of don't underestimate the just working on you and get involved in your little city, whatever,
mhm,
whatever it is. I like to volunteer as a soccer coach because that's my way to give back to kids, and get out there in the way that you can. And that's enough. that is affecting the global spectrum because you're sending those positive vibrations out, and somebody else says, "Oh, look at that. Oh, that's wonderful. Maybe I'll try that," instead of getting caught so much in the negative, in the chaos, and quit feeding that bear, that negative energy with, because it's
'Cause that,
addicting.
well,
It's so addicting.
that negative energy thrives on that. It feeds off of that, which is all
Yeah.
the reason that we need to be as impartial. It doesn't mean that I don't care. I care deeply.
Right.
It makes me cry. Um, but I can't imprint my morality on top of everybody else. All I can do is do what's mine to do. And like I said, don't come and talk to me about what's on my plate until you finish what's on your plate. I just got to take care of this plate right here. So, um,
Yeah. And the other thing to note is that sometimes people think that they have to do something really huge, and you really don't. Like for
mm-mm.
some people, it's just like, okay, you see somebody struggling trying to open the door to the grocery store, open the door
Yeah.
for them. Like it's something so simple, just like a minuscule act of kindness that
Mhm.
will take you a minute can change everything.
I love that, and I
Ripple
think that's why I like to listen to NDEs, near-death experiencers talk about like what it was like on the other side when they maybe see their life review, as they say, that they see. And it's not like this big, fantastic, the job that they had or the things that we perceive here in 3D, that we're programmed to believe are important are so insignificant, and like the smile that you give to the person in the line in front of you, or that's what they say they come back with, and that's what they say is the most important. Like they see how they feel, how they affected other people with really small, what we would say here are small insignificant,
Mhm.
things that you can do you may pass them over, but those are the things that matter the most, is what they say. And so
That's
it's
true.
like,
Mhm.
I love that, small details, little things.
I mean, because I don't know what's going on with that person in front of me. They're having a crappy day and they're maybe being a little short or rude or whatever. It's like it has nothing to do with me, especially out in the world. They don't know me. So if they're have an attitude, it has nothing to do with me.
Not
That's
personal.
back on them. So it's all practice. I mean, all the stuff we're talking about
Mhm.
here is, and it's like we make a commitment to that. My commitment is to show up as the best version of me in the moment that I can do. And some days it's better than other days, but that's what we're here for, is experience. We're here to gain experience, and you can't fail at that. So pretty, you can't. And I got a big long list of experience, let me tell you. Yeah.
Well, we have wound our way through 2 hours again. Is there anything else we want to talk about here as we are coming into a close?
Oh, this was good.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
Great. Well, we do not have another cosmic conversation scheduled yet. We are going to be seeing who will join us for the next one, and when we will plan it, it will be in about a month. We also have coming up tomorrow is our free online fair. So that's 5 to 9 p.m. tomorrow, and some of the people here are going to be in the fair tomorrow. I understand we're going to learn about neurographics. What is it called? We'll learn about that tomorrow.
yes, that's neurographics. Yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
great.
the title of the talk is Neurographics for Meditation and Self-Help, what it is and how to do it. Yeah.
Great, great. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I guess, do we all want to go
Yeah.
around and say again who we are for anyone that watches us all the way to the end, so they make sure they can contact us? I'll just say I'm Lorelei Shamayo, and you can find out more about me at intuitiveeyereading.com, matchmakingsoulmates.com, and miwifairs.com.
Okay. I'm Crystal Novak. You can find my website at iknowstuff.me, or you can email me at crystal@iknowstuff.me. Um, and thank you so much for being here tonight. It was fantastic to interact with everybody, the questions and everything. It was great. So thank you.
Okay, and I'm Kai. You can find me online at my website, which is handsonfire.buzz, B-U-Z-Z. And again, thank you so much for coming. This was fun. I think we had a great conversation, covered a lot of really important things.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's like if you guys can come back again next month when we do it again, please join us because this is what it's like. We just show up and see what happens, and we always have a good time. So thank you for coming.
My name is Alina, and I go by Saddle Matters. My website is bio.site, site/saddle.matters, and my email is saddle.matters@outlook.com. And I will be at the MIWI Fair tomorrow, online, in one of the breakout rooms. I can talk about almost anything, as long as you don't expect me to give you a cure because, well, I don't have one for me. I don't think I'll have one for you either. But anything else is up for grabs. And I will be giving a talk about on neurographics at, I believe, 7:15 tomorrow. I think that's
I
what
have
it
no
is.
idea when I scheduled it for, yeah.
But
That specific
I
time.
looked at the schedule today.
I know, I just pulled
So
up the schedule. And I guess, do you want to say
yeah.
something too about the astrological oracle cards that you use? You talk about those at all tonight.
I use astrological oracle card deck called Symbolon that originated in Germany in the 70s. And it was originally created by a psychotherapist who was working with his patients through imagery. His name was Peter Orban, and he created a deck initially without any reference to astrology at all, just to show archetypes to his patients and just kind of help them navigate what goes on in their lives and in their heads when working on mental issues. And then later on, two women, their names are Ingrid and Thea, and I don't remember their last names to save my life. But they saw the deck and they applied the astrological symbolic to the images and to kind of tie it all together. So you don't have to be an astrologer to be able to read this deck because it can almost be read intuitively. I learned how to read it. I took a formal lessons to learn how to read that deck. And I also just recently published a book that helps others read it because there is no other literature teaching to read Symbolon deck.
Can you say
So
the name of that again?
Symbolon, I can put it in the chat. Give me a sec.
Symbolon, like
Symbolon, like this. If
thank
you
you.
try to search for it, plug in something like Symbolon cards or Symbolon deck, because just the word Symbolon will give you a lot of Catholic literature. Apparently, the word is also used there too, and that's not it. The book is on Amazon, and it refers to the deck. So. Yeah, that is the deck that I use for divination. That's the deck that I use for myself when I need guidance. That's the deck that I use when I need to make a choice between two options. I actually have a specific spread for that. So that's what I'll be doing the whole time at MIWI Fair tomorrow. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Happy to have you at the fair tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, so much for being here tonight. Thank you, everyone, for being on the panel and for bringing all of your ideas and wisdom and questions and all that. This has been wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.